4 years ago, I started a game project called Malicious Mages. It was when I first started learning how to make games, and it was a bit too big of a project for someone just starting out. After a while, I ended up abandoning the project and moving on to other stuff. But then 1 year ago, I decided I wanted to see what it would be like if I resurrected the project using what I've learned over the last few years. The project went from this to this. So sit down, buckle up, and I'll show you how I went from designing and prototyping to getting a playable demo at an indie game festival in just 1 year. I also got to collaborate with some really cool people along the way, including Allison Burke, the person who made this TikTok that blew up last year. I'll touch more on that later. So what is Malicious Mages? Malicious Mages is a capture the flag brawler. That means that it has some traditional elements of brawler games like Super Smash Bros. Or Brawlhalla, but the main objective of the game is capture the flag. The game is heavily influenced from games like Nidhogg or Capsule Force, but instead of killing to gain the screen advantage like a Nidhogg, the player has to steal this blue orb. God, I wish I could have released this game during the orb meme. I would have totally taken advantage of it. Once the player has the orb, they have to take it to their side of the level. The level is symmetrical on both sides, so the game turns into a tug-of-war battle between the two players. Once the player takes the orb to their side of the level, they have to defend it from the other player while this bar fills up. And when that bar fills up, you've summoned a great and powerful god to your aid. And you win the game.
Oh! No! That was supposed to work! Oh, no! No! Oh, man. That's awesome.
God bless.
The player can choose from different characters that all have their own unique moves and special abilities. Right now we have 2 characters in the game. There's Ada Lydecker. She's an accountant with a huge passion for magic. She's what happens when you have to balance your hobbies with your 9 to 5. Her magic is based around these pink crystals called radonite. And then there's Cool Cal. He's an undead skeleton with some healthy bones. His magic is all about this weird green slime, and he's a bit faster than Ada.
The level 2. Okay, so this is, we've been calling it Send to Brazil.
Oh
my
god. Nice.
So pretty much it takes you off screen pretty much until you respawn.
But what's great about it is, here, you go ahead and get enough mana for the Brazil.
The Brazil.
The player collects mana to activate their special moves. Ada's moves are a big boulder that shoots across the stage, a wall that can be placed to block your opponent, and a rain of pink crystals that create traps on the whole stage. Cool Cal's moves are a pile of green... For Cool Cal, his first spell is a pile of green goo that you put on the ground that traps players. His second spell is this giant arm that goes out and grabs the player and sends them to the void. And his final move is very similar to Ada's, where Cool Cal spreads this toxic goo all over the stage. I've also got a whole bunch of other characters planned for the game, like Robomage, America's first magical android, designed to become a killing machine but accidentally became Sailor Moon. We even did a Smash-style reveal for him at the end of our first trailer. It was pretty fun. Malicious Mages is 2017, sophomore year of college. I'd been learning how to make games for about a year at this point, And I even released the game on the Google Play Store. So that means that I can obviously make a big Super Smash Bros. Clone with 7 playable characters, online multiplayer, like 6 stages, and a big linear. When you start learning game development, if you don't try to make your big dream game right away, you're doing it wrong. You're gonna want to go in and make your big MMO battle royale. Everybody does it. Chances are you won't finish it, but that's okay. You gotta fail early, and you gotta fail often. You're gonna get a huge lesson in scope and what you can handle. And I probably tried that like 6 times before I finally learned. So I didn't finish the game. But I learned a lot, and I got quite a bit done on it. I had a big white box level, 1.5 playable characters, and I even made 3 videos on this channel about it back then. At some point, I just stopped working on it, moved on to other projects, and focused on school. A year after I graduated college, I started to get a lot of self-doubt because I kept starting projects and never finished any of them. I really wanted to make and finish something. I decided that instead of starting a new thing saying, hey, it'll be different this time, it would be better to go back and finish an old project. That way I could scratch one thing off my list and ease my conscience a little bit. I'd been working at my first job in the games industry for a little bit and had been learning so much about how to properly manage and organize a big project. I wanted to take everything that I had learned and put it into my project. I set up version control. I started using Jira to keep track of tasks, and I set up 2-week sprints. I went through and I started separating the builds into versions, and I would make a change log for each version, what's changed, any known bugs that are in there, what's been removed. I also used a tool called Miro, which is basically this really cool online whiteboard, and I used that to keep track of this big roadmap for the project. After I decided that I wanted to bring this project back and remake it, I got with a buddy and we played the old version and we came up with ideas on what the new design would be. In the old version of the game, it used to be just spells that you'd have to collect and use mana for. But in this new version, I wanted the player to be able to have a whole bunch of actions that they could do for free, but then collect mana to do special moves. I also wanted there to be a whole bunch of new movement options. The player could slide, jump, crouch, dash. The biggest difference between back then and now is I'm not doing this alone.
You're coming in this way, and basically you need to get on top of this and ride it over and hop over on the other side, but, go in the lava or
That sounds really awesome, but I'm thinking of all kinds of bugs.
shit that can go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
A big lesson I learned from the last time I tried to do this project is trying to do a project this size by yourself is a crazy idea. Malicious Mages turned into a huge collaborative effort. I got in touch with so many people I knew from school to help bring the art together. Kenzie Glass made a whole bunch of cool concept art for the first level. Then I brought in my buddy Dalton, who took Kenzie's concepts and made some really cool environment models and textures based on a white box I made. Look at the transition between my prototype models and his art. Graphic design is not my passion. This is a logo I made back in 2017 that looks like it was made with crayon. I asked my friend Sam Busso to redesign it, and she did an incredible job. It's currently my wallpaper for everything, and I had it printed on a t-shirt. I also reached out to a lot of people that I didn't know personally, and that's been a crazy cool experience. There's this Half-Life fan song I listen to on repeat called Freeman in the Flesh by Vandaria, and I always wished that I could use it for something or commission him to do something. After lots of looking around, I managed to get in touch with him, and I commissioned him to make a new song inspired by that Freeman in the Flesh song without the Half-Life references as a theme for my game, and oh my god, he knocked it out of the park. So good. I also found out that someone I went to high school with that I didn't know that well had launched a career on Spotify and was making some really cool stuff. So I got in touch with them and commissioned them to make a couple of tracks for the game too. They're Bennett on Spotify. You should really check them out. And then there was one shot in the dark that I didn't think in a million years would work out. Last year, this TikTok got really popular and I ended up following them. One day, I noticed that it said they were an actor. I need voice actors for my game. She sounds like she would be a great fit for one of my characters. Screw it, why not? So I shot them a message, but, there's no way they'll go for... Oh my god. So yeah, the Allison Burke voices my character Ada Lydecker in my game.
Maybe magic just isn't your thing.